Hi, Adam Taylor with ITS here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the different view modes available in LanSchool. So LanSchool actually has 3 different view modes that you can use to view your students, and depending on what they're doing, you might find one more useful than the other. So this is thumbnail view. This is LanSchool's default mode of view. And when you're using thumbnail view, what you're really doing is just viewing the screens of the students in real time. So as they're working, you'll be able to see exactly what they're up to, what websites they're on, what programs they're using, what they're typing, if they're editing something. And below each of the thumbnails shows the name of that student as well as the name of the machine that they're using. What we also have is that you can do a mouse over and you'll be able to see the last question that each of these students asked, if they've been asking questions to the teacher. And really by just having thumbnail view, you've always got one eye on your entire classroom. These thumbnails will scale up, so as you start filling this interface with more and more students, they'll get smaller. The less students you have, the bigger. So for most teachers, thumbnail view is what they'll use. They just want to keep an eye on the class. If you'd like to get a bit more information, what you can do is click on the View All button here. We go into Detail View. So in Detail View, you can see a little bit more information about each of the students and what they're up to. Again, we can see the student names here, so this will be their login name. Also, if you're using Active Directory, it will show you their full name, so first name and last name. You'll see the machine name again, and this time you can see what they're actually using. So here we can see that they're all on Internet Explorer. We can see the websites they're looking at, or the names of the pages here, and then here we've got the actual URLs themselves. After that is the questions, and then the channel and the version number of LanSchool that they're using. So one good practice is to keep yourself on thumbnail view and then just periodically check the detail view. That way you'll see all of this text and you'll be able to just at a glance see if anything looks amiss to you, or you can see if there's any questions there. So going back to thumbnail view, one of the limitations is that you can't actually see a great deal of detail on each of these screens. They're very small. So one thing that we can do is actually go into View All, and then our third view mode here is called Screen Feed. So with Screen Feed, you've got more or less a full screen view of the student screen. So again, you can see lots more information, you can make out the text, you can see what they're doing. Again, it's all real time, so you'll be able to follow their mouse movements and their actions. Really just get a better feel for what it is they're doing in the class. If you do have a multi-screen setup or you have a projector, it can be quite useful to run screen feed on one of them. And then that way you can always keep kind of one eye as the students are working. If they've got project work, another thing you could do is to throw that onto the projector and then start moving around the room. So everyone will be able to see someone's screen at random. It makes it a lot harder to get away with things. So really just get used to using these 3 different view modes depending on what you're doing in the classroom. Thumbnail view is great at the beginning of class as you're delivering maybe a lesson plan or you're delivering something up on the screen yourself. You'll be able to just keep an eye and make sure that everyone's paying attention to you. And then maybe during the class you'd like to switch to detail view, and that way you just get a bit more information about what it is that everyone's actually doing. So what websites they're on and what programs they're running and so on. And then finally, for when you're not by your computer, as I said, throw it up on the projector, go to screen feed, and just have that running in the background, and then that way all the students can see what's going on as well as yourself from a distance.